Welcome back to Healing Gardens, where we dig deep into the Earth's most precious wisdom, the kind that's been quietly waiting in forgotten texts, ancient practices, and the memory of plants themselves. Today, we're embarking on something truly special, uncovering aromatherapy traditions that time nearly erased, and bringing them back to life in ways you can actually use. What if the secrets to genuine well-being aren't locked away in modern laboratories, but rather scattered across forgotten healing traditions from every corner of our world? We've spent considerable time piecing together these botanical puzzles, reconstructing methods that our ancestors perfected over millennia. The practices we're about to explore aren't just historically fascinating, they're backed by emerging science that confirms what traditional healers always knew. These aren't your typical lavender in a diffuser tips. We're talking about potent, precise botanical extractions that served as the backbone of holistic medicine across civilizations. The forgotten sense. Understanding what we lost. Throughout history, aromatherapy wasn't the luxury spa treatment it's often reduced to today. In ancient Egypt, Persia, India, and across indigenous cultures worldwide, aromatic plant preparations were sophisticated medicine. These weren't casual remedies, they were the result of careful observation, experimentation, and refinement across generations. When we lost these practices, we didn't just lose pleasant scents, we lost intricate knowledge systems that understood plants as complete healing allies. Consider the Persian tradition of attar making, which involved distillation methods so refined that modern science is only now beginning to appreciate their precision. Or the Japanese Kodo tradition, which treated incense as a path to mental clarity and spiritual depth. Understanding neurological impacts centuries before we even had the vocabulary to explain them. These traditions shared something profound. They recognized that aromatic compounds weren't just pleasant additions to healing, they were often the healing itself, working through our olfactory system to influence everything from inflammation to emotional balance. Reconstructing ancient remedies really comes down to the art and science of extraction. Let's get practical. One of the most fascinating lost techniques is enfleurage, a method the ancient Egyptians and later the French perfected for capturing the essence of delicate flowers. This cold fat extraction process is virtually extinct in commercial aromatherapy, yet it produces aromatic profiles impossible to achieve through modern steam distillation. Here's how it worked. Fresh flower petals, jasmine, tuberose, or rose, were carefully laid onto glass plates coated with purified animal fat. Over days, the fat would absorb the flower's volatile compounds. The spent petals were removed and replaced with fresh ones, repeating this process for weeks until the fat became saturated with fragrance. This pomade was then washed with alcohol to separate the absolute, resulting in an aromatic extract of extraordinary depth and therapeutic complexity. So, why does this matter beyond just historical curiosity? Well, heat-based extraction methods can actually alter or even destroy some of those really delicate compounds. Enfleurage, on the other hand, captured those heat-sensitive molecules that modern methods often miss. Compounds that traditional healers recognized as essential for emotional healing and nervous system support. The linalool and benzyl acetate preserved through this gentle method interact with GABA receptors in our brains in a way that's actually different from their heat-altered counterparts, offering anxiety relief that feels, markedly different from standard essential oils. Another remarkable technique comes from Ayurvedic tradition, the preparation of tailam, or medicated oils, through a method called sneha kalpana. This involves simmering specific herbs and carrier oils alongside water and plant pastes for hours, sometimes even days. The water eventually evaporates, leaving behind an oil infused not just with aromatic compounds, but with a full spectrum of the plant's phytochemicals. Traditional practitioners knew that sandalwood processed this way, combined with holy basil and other aromatics, created preparations that addressed inflammatory conditions while simultaneously supporting mental clarity. Modern analysis reveals they were extracting sesquiterpenes and phenolic compounds in ratios that pharmaceutical isolation simply can't replicate. Beyond relaxation, there are actually some surprising applications of ancient aromatics. Here's where these forgotten practices truly shine, in applications that go far beyond the, calming lavender bath stereotype. Ancient Arabic medicine used concentrated rose otto, extracted through hydrodistillation, specifically for cardiovascular support. They weren't being poetic when they called it the remedy for the heart, they observed real physiological effects. Contemporary research now confirms that damascenones and other rose compounds can influence heart rate variability and support healthy blood pressure regulation. In traditional Chinese medicine, agarwood, also known as chen xiang, was burned and inhaled during meditation, but also prescribed for what they called rebellious qi, which is what we might recognize as digestive distress and respiratory issues. So, the sesquiterpenes in agarwood smoke activate specific receptor pathways that actually support digestive function and, respiratory ease. Indigenous Australian healers used eucalyptus in ways that went way beyond just decongestant benefits. They would create poultices by combining crushed eucalyptus leaves with certain clay types and then apply them to painful joints and wounds. The eucalyptal would penetrate tissues, while the minerals in the clay provided additional therapeutic effects. A pretty sophisticated transdermal delivery system, all created without modern pharmacology. For cognitive enhancement, Amazonian shamans used Palo Santo wood in ceremonial contexts that we now understand facilitated a state of focused calm. The limonene and terpineol in Palo Santo smoke actually do cross the blood-brain barrier, influencing neurotransmitter activity in ways that support concentration without overstimulation. Modern pharmacology is essentially playing catch-up to what traditional aromatherapists knew empirically. When we analyze frankincense, used ceremonially across Middle Eastern and African cultures for millennia, we find boswellic acids that demonstrate genuine anti-inflammatory action at the cellular level. These compounds inhibit specific enzymes involved in inflammatory cascades, the 5-lipoxygenase pathway to be precise. The Vietnamese practice of using champaca flowers in specific aromatherapy preparations for grief support isn't just cultural poetry. The flower's complex aromatic profile includes compounds that interact with serotonin pathways. What surprises researchers most is the precision of these ancient methods, the temperature at which frankincense resin was heated, the specific moon phase when certain flowers were harvested, the exact ratios in compound preparations. These weren't superstitions. You don't need to recreate an ancient Egyptian workshop to benefit from this wisdom. Start by seeking out aromatherapy suppliers who use traditional extraction methods, small batch distillers who work with wild harvested or traditionally cultivated plants. Try creating your own simple infused oils using the Sneha Kalpana principle. Gently simmer dried herbs in quality carrier oil with a small amount of water over very low heat for several hours. Strain, and you've created a full-spectrum aromatic preparation our ancestors would recognize. Rose petals in sesame oil, or tulsi and coconut oil, following this method, produces something far more therapeutically interesting than essential oils added to carrier oils. For respiratory support, consider the Arabian tradition of bakur, wood chips and resins burned on charcoal. The slow controlled combustion releases compounds in ways that direct burning or diffusion just doesn't replicate. So, it's really important to document your experiences. Traditional aromatherapy was actually built on careful observation of effects over time. Keep notes on how different preparations affect your sleep, your focus, and your physical comfort. By doing this, you're participating in the same empirical tradition that created these practices originally. This journey into forgotten aromatherapy isn't about nostalgia, it's about reclaiming sophisticated, effective tools for well-being that modern life has, kind of overlooked. These practices survive for good reason. They worked, and they continue to work when we approach them with respect and understanding. If this exploration resonated with you, please subscribe to Healing Gardens. We're committed to unearthing more of this precious wisdom and making it accessible to everyone who's ready to deepen their relationship with plants and healing. And hey, share this video with friends, family, or anyone in your community who's searching for authentic, time-tested pathways to wellness. Together, we're not just remembering the past, we're cultivating a future where ancient wisdom and modern understanding grow side by side. Until next time, keep your hands in the soil and your heart open to what the garden wants to teach you.